So unpack the 3 chairs model for
Sure.
us and how every leader naturally sits in one of those chairs.
Sure. So I'll give you a backstory, and I talk about this on the TED Talk. So the story started in my second year of practice when I was working with teenagers, and I started noticing that a lot of teenagers struggle with self-esteem. So I love research, I love data. So I started pouring through the research to find out what had already been done about the research, about confidence and how that affected decision making. And as I was kind of pouring through the research, I saw this crazy pattern on 3 distinctive attitudes, and I thought, wow, it's so powerful, but it's sitting in dusty journal shelves in libraries, academic libraries. So I thought, how can I make this come alive? So I created this very simple model called the 3 chairs that I call the 3 chairs, which is what the TED Talk's about. So I'm going to show the visual because I think like a lot of your listeners are visual learners. Are you a visual learner,
Absolutely.
George? Or are you? Okay, so I am as well. I'm off the chart visual. So for me, I needed to create a model that was visual because I wanted people actually to see it. So I'm going to show it just so that everybody can actually see it. So there's essentially 3 different chairs or 3 different types of leaders or 3 different types of confidences. So I'm going to kind of quickly go through each one. And I want everybody to think to themselves, what chair sounds like you? Which confidence or mindset actually sounds like you the majority of the time? Okay, so the left chair is what I call the blind attitude. That's the person that they put themselves down. They're hard on themselves. They're critical. They can be sometimes just really, really tough on themselves. So they can appear confident, but in their own headspace, they are blind to their own strengths. Okay, then you've got the one on the right. That's what I call the arrogant leader. They're cocky, they're arrogant, they are full of themselves. They don't care what they say and how it impacts actually other people. And the one then in the middle chair is what I call the confident attitude or the mindset. And that's the person that they feel really good about themselves. They have confidence. They know their strengths. They know their weaknesses. They're working on their weaknesses, and they have that humble mindset. So these are the 3 different chairs. I've taught this as young as kindergarten students all the way to Fortune 500 CEOs. It is so simple, and that's almost the magic of it. And so when I teach it, the first thing I try to get people to do is, what chair do you see yourself sitting in the majority of the time? Because all of us are moving around. And then the second part of the question is, think about how that mindset now impacts how you feel and your decision making. So how does that mindset impact things like goal setting, dating, who you're going to choose as a partner, feedback, conflict, because it's so consistent, the research, and that's what the book is filled with. I showed the research on if somebody says, okay, Karyn, I'm sitting in the left chair, I connect with that, I can make very strong predictions on how they're going to make decisions based on research. It actually almost gives people goosebumps when they actually start reading, because I can almost, it's not, I mean, the thing about psychology and all of this is it's not black and white, right? I can't say if you're in the left chair, this is going to happen. But I can say, based on science, if you're in the left chair, this is more likely to happen. And so that's the second part, that awakening, that awareness, going, wow, which chair am I sitting in and how does it impact my life?
It's wild to think about how many decisions we make as leaders subconsciously based
Yes.
on some of the unhealthy places we find ourselves in. So it's
Yes.
really important to look in that mirror and have the self-awareness to go, I see myself. I can see how my team might
Yes.
even perceive me this way. So I love this model. I want to make it real by going through a few different scenarios, kind of a lightning
Sure.
round, and you
Yep.
tell us how each of the chair might react or look like.
Sure.
So
Okay.
let's start with communication. So if you're in
Yep.
the left chair, how
Yep.
would you communicate if you're in that blind seat?
Okay, so if you're in the left chair, the blind attitude, if there's conflict, you really notice it actually in conflict. The left chair, usually they either stay quiet, they are passive, they will avoid the problem, or they're not going to go to, so let's say if I'm in this chair, and George, let's say you do something that bothers me, I'm not going to go talk to you. I'll either keep it to myself, or I'm going to go tell Susan over here, or Brittany. So what have I just done is I've just created a triangle. It's what we call triangulation. It's also called backstabbing. It's also, it's passive aggressive, but that's very popular, is that they don't have the confidence to go talk to the person directly. If I'm in the left chair or the right chair, I will basically go to you and I'll tell you off. I'll attack you and I will blame you, and I'm not interested to listen to your perspective. If I'm in the middle chair, I'm more likely to be assertive. I'm more likely to lean into the situation. I'm more likely to pick up the phone saying, George, you know what? I really want to have a chat about this. I keep it between one-on-one. Okay, I'm not involving anybody else. And I'm going to be focused on problem solving and listening to your perspective. So if you just take that one example for everybody listening, just think about how much time is wasted in organizations and in families because we do not know how to deal with conflict. And the root of the conflict issue is actually with where we sit. So we have to teach ourselves, our families, our teams, we need to learn how to sit in that middle chair and learn actually how to deal with conflict. And so that mindset in the middle is part of it is that they're feedback hungry. Because they have that humility, they're open to feedback. The ones on the left and the right, they're very feedback fragile. It's very hard to give them feedback because they personalize it. So, everything becomes a big drama. And so it's amazing on how this skill not only solves problems, but actually saves a lot of time.
Well, connected to that, let's talk about stress. That's a big one for leaders out there.
Yep.
What do the chairs look like in stress?
Yeah, so again, a great question. So what's interesting is the left and the right chair, they don't tend to be great at setting boundaries because they want to win the approval of other people. So they tend to be yes, 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 yes. They take on more things. They have a harder time setting boundaries because they want to win that approval. The person in the middle chair, they have a stronger sense around what their boundaries are, what they need, how to refuel. So because of that, they have a stronger ability to say, I'm going to say yes to these priorities, and I'm going to say no to these things that are not my priorities. And if people are upset about it, that's unfortunate, but I need to take care of myself as a leader in order that I can give more to my team. And so they don't feel guilty for taking time off. They do not feel guilty for saying no. It's a very different mindset. And so as a result, they can perform at a very high level with lowered stress.